Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine. This is a tribute to Dolly Parton, who at the time we were doing this video passed away just yesterday. I want to concentrate on a few things to celebrate Dolly Parton's life, but she also has a part in my life in that she connects to my own mom. My own mom died when she was 88 a few years ago, and I get my love of music from my mom. My dad was into the kind of hi-fi components and what music sounded like more than actually liking music, but my mom loved music. She played records. She loved country and western music. And at the time I thought country and western music was not for me. But my mom kind of said, you know, this is music that is about us. It's about normal people. It's about their lives. It connects us. And I kind of was getting into pop bands on top of the pops at the time. But as I started to go through the 70s, as I was growing up and leaving school and listening to rock music and heavy metal and catching the bus to the factories I was working in, that music was about the working man. It was about working person. And then I started to see the similarity between the lyrics and the music. And my mom started to listen to rock music. She liked Rainbow and all sorts of things. But my respect for country music, Chris Christopherson in particular is one of my mum's favourites as well, who's also sadly passed away, was Dolly Parton. And there are so many tributes out there at the moment. Obviously she wrote wonderful songs like Jolene, Coat of Many Colours, 9 to 5, and of course I Will Always Love You. But there was also the vulnerability in the songwriting. Jolene, for instance, whereas a lot of songs now will be about, you know, I'm in charge, everything's going great. This was a song about a woman who potentially was going to lose her husband to someone else. The vulnerability, the way that Dolly sang that, you believed it, you felt for it, and how many tens of thousands of people around the world would have identified with that. That vulnerability is another key part of the appeal to Dolly Parton. She was real, she was genuine, and the music was genuine. And a lot of people now, I think, will be exploring these songs. And music builds bridges. It doesn't burn them. You know, this is an artist that not burned, but kind of melted the circles around specific silos of genres. So many people love Dolly Parton. I do want to concentrate on another part of her life, though, and because this is another part that fits in with the way I see music as being the healer and the doctor, really. I will just touch on the fact, because this helps paint the picture. She grew up as one of 12 people in a small town in Tennessee. She began singing on local radio and TV. She appeared at the Grand Ole Opry at 13 and moved to Nashville after leaving school. Her partnership with Porter Wagoner brought her to a national audience, but she was determined to follow her own path. So when she decided to leave, she expressed something painful and complicated in the best way she probably knew. She wrote a song. She wrote, I Will Always Love You. That tells us something about Dolly. She could turn separation into gratitude and hurt, and a song that millions of people could share. Her achievements are immense. 100 million records sold, 11 Grammy Awards, membership of the Country Music Hall of Fame, and of course the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. And I've made some notes here because I want to make sure that I get this right and I don't miss anything out. Her greatest legacy, I feel, exists away from the stage. Dolly's father was unable to read or write, and she saw how deeply that affected him. In 1995, she created the Imagination Library in his honour. What began as a programme for children in their home county grew into an international organisation providing free books for children from birth until the age of 5. More than 300 million books have now been given to children around the world, including where I am, in the UK. Think about that just for a moment. Millions of children receiving a book personally addressed to them, something they could hold, keep, and hopefully treasure. Dolly understood that giving a child a book could also give them confidence, curiosity, and maybe even a different start in life. She funded scholarships, created programs to encourage young people to remain in education. Through Dollywood, she also brought employment and opportunity to the part of Tennessee where she had grown up. The devastating wildfires in 2016, her My People Fund provided families who had lost their homes with financial support every month for 6 months. During the pandemic, she donated $1 million. She once explained, "I love all children. No child should have to suffer, and I'm willing to do my part." She didn't just put a name to causes. She actually used her own money, her influence, and her extraordinary ability to bring people together. Music, I feel, is the healer and the doctor. And I know I say that because of certain songs can change the mood of the room you're in. It can help you heal. It can change the direction of a day you might be heading off towards you. It can bring people together. But I also mean that in the way that Dolly Parton used her success, her influence, as music is the healer and the doctor. She used that money, that influence to help others, to build bridges, as I've said. Music is such a special thing. And when you have musicians that have done this from the heart, their intent, their reason for doing it, their background, where they've come from, they've never forgotten that. And they look around and think, what can I do to help? How can I help things be better than they are, than they were for me? And I think she is obviously a very loving and spiritual person. I know that when she went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she was probably thinking a bit, is this really for me? But when she was in, I think she totally embraced it. When she performed Jolene, she was surrounded by artists, including Rob Halford from Judas Priest, Simon Le Bon, Duran Duran, Annie Lennox, Eurythmics, Pat Benatar, Sheryl Crow, and Pink. And as drawing on my line of building bridges, that is country music. Rock, pop, and heavy metal all standing together around one song. It is another example of how music builds bridges, brings us together. And that is the key thing of how I see music and why this makes me think of my mum. Being a young kid, rebelling against your parents, my mum telling me that you want to listen to a bit of country music or whatever. And I go, no, I need guitars. But without my mum, I wouldn't have found my love of music. And without Dolly, my mum probably wouldn't have wanted to tell me about music and the artists that she loved as well. She made an album called Rockstar, collaborating with artists including Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Elton John, Stevie Nicks, Joan Jett, Peter Frampton, and Rob Halford. Rob sang on the song called Bygones, with Dolly described as I'm just thinking, but the reason why I wanted to mention Rob Halford is because he's from Birmingham, where I'm from, and he's Judas Priest, and it's heavy metal, and it kind of builds into the way I started this tribute. I'm catching the bus to work in the factory. I'm listening to that. I'm listening to Sad Wings of Destiny. I'm going home. My mum's listening to Dolly Parton, and how the bridges have come together. And here we are now, and Dolly's sadly passed away, and all the dots are still connecting. So Rob described her as this beautiful beacon of life. Following the news of her death, he wrote, "She won't want no crying. I love you, Dolly." Mick Jagger said, "She brought so many people together. We will all miss her so much." Joan Jett described her as one of a kind, down to earth, a musical genius. She was also a fantastic guitar player as well. I think this is what helps describe what Dolly Parton meant to so many people around the world and why this has affected people. People say everyone loved Dolly. She's on the front pages of all the newspapers where I am. But I think it's because it's beyond the music, but it's to do with the music. It's the fact that music, this thing that you can't wear, you can't eat, this art form is such a gift in bringing humanity together at a time when we need it more than ever. She possessed enormous talent, warmth, humour, humility, and instinctive understanding of what success means and how you can use it to lift up other people. She did bring people together, and she reminded us that music can cross genres, generations, backgrounds, and beliefs, and that kindness can do exactly the same thing. Kindness is actually a superpower. It's not a weakness, it is a superpower, and I think Dolly Parton absolutely showed an example of that in everything she did. Her songs will always be with us, but so will those millions of books, the children she's helped, the families who've been supported, and those lives that were made a little bit better because of Dolly Parton. She didn't just put her name to things, as I said, she gave her own money. She really was the real deal. Thank you, Dolly, for all the music, the laughter, the generosity. And of course, Dolly, it worked because she never took herself that seriously. She was humble. If there was any ego there, it was, well, there wasn't, was it? She just looked around, I think constantly looking around, who can I help? What can I do today to make a difference? What can I do? What little act of kindness can I do to make a difference to somebody somewhere? Thank you for watching, and thank you, if I can say this, if you don't mind, thank you to my mom for introducing me to music, and thank you for Dolly for meeting my mom through those grooves and those records. This video is dedicated to all Dolly's fans, family, anybody connected with her, anyone who's been helped by her and her influence and her music. She was an icon, and she'll be sadly missed. Music is the healer and the doctor. My name is Phil Aston, and this is Now Spinning Magazine. Thank you so much. Take care, all of you. Have a good day ahead. Play some uplifting music. Play some Dolly Parton. Go and listen if you haven't before. Take care, all of you, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.